What's going on, everybody? I hope you're enjoying your week so far and you're getting ready for a very exciting weekend. This is NYG Jeffy T 85 here, and I'm bringing you the New York Giants keys to a victory for Sunday, January 1st, 2023, the first day of the new year, the last home game for the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium this season. And the Giants, all they got to do is win, and they are in. Case in point, they win, and they are in the playoffs. The Giants are going to be taking on the Indianapolis Colts, who have pretty much been a team that, let's just be honest, they're a team that's just ready to pack it in and finish the season off and get ready for their offseason so they could start looking for their potential future quarterback and as well as try to figure out who their future head coach is. While the New York Giants, for the first time, look like they're on the verge of making the playoffs since 2016. That's the last time the New York Giants made the playoffs as a football team, was 2016. This is a big game. This is a game that you cannot sleep on if you're a Giant player or a Giant coach and us Giants fans. But this is a game we should win. This is a game we should win. Are we going to win? No. But should we win this game? Absolutely. It's right there for the taking. The last game of the season, you're playing against a team that is clearly just folding it in for the season. They've got nothing to play for. They're just waiting for it to end so they can get on with their offseason. And this is an opportunity for the New York Giants to go into MetLife Stadium, their last home game of this season, and give their fans something to be proud about. And get this team ready for a potential playoff berth. This is a big game for the Giants in many aspects. The New York Giants have not been to the playoffs since 2016. And for the most part, in the last 5, 6, 7 years, this team has pretty much been eliminated even before we get to the month of December. And now the Giants have an opportunity. All they have to do is just win their game, and they are in the playoffs. Plain and simple, just win, and you are in the playoffs. This is a very simple concept for New York Giants. The question is, can they be able to go out there and pull off this victory? Only 2 players have been to the playoffs with the New York Giants in the last time they made it. And that is Sterling Shepard, who is out of course for the season with a torn ACL, and Landon Collins, who they just signed off their practice squad and is now part of the active roster. They are the only 2 New York Giants on this roster that have been to the playoffs with the Giants the last time this team was there. This is a big game. Go out there and handle your business, New York. Go out there and give your fans another reason to be happy, excited. Give this fan base one last reason this season to go watch their football team. Go out there and give them something to smile and let us go party and be ecstatic for the fact that we finally make the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. But here are my keys to the New York Giants getting a big victory over the Colts and sending them to the playoffs. Number 1, run the football down their throat. The Colts are a team. And while they have a very stout defensive front with guys like Yannick Ngakoue, DeForest Buckner, and Kwity Paye, their linebacking core is not as strong previously as they were before because of the fact you don't have a guy like Darius Leonard in the middle of that linebacking core because of the fact he's been out for pretty much the entire season due to injury. The Giants have got to be able to establish the run. I've said design runs before, but this time I just want to see the Giants run that football down their throat. Get Saquon Barkley going early. Get Daniel Jones and that bootleg going early. Get maybe some design runs out there. Maybe include some packages where you include Matt Breida as well as Gary Brightwell. But run that football down the Colts' throat. Hit them in the middle of that field. Simple as that. Go out there and establish your dominance on the offensive line and running the football with Saquon and DJ. And this is going to play a lot of part with that offensive line. And the offensive line is going against a very, very solid defensive line of the Colts. Like I mentioned, Kwity Paye, Yannick Ngakoue, and DeForest Buckner in the middle. That is a very good Indianapolis Colts front line that can get to the quarterback, and they can also do a decent job running the football. But this is where the offensive line has got to come into play and establish their dominance in the run game and hold off that defensive line to open up some holes to be able to have Saquon Barkley and whoever's running the football get to the second and the third level of that Colts defense, and that's where you could really start doing your damage, as well as having Saquon and these running backs bounce to the outside and trying to get the Colts to lose contain on the outside so you could rip off some of these big runs and pull off some of these big 20, 30, 40 plus runs to the outside, because that's one of the big elements that has been missing from this offense is you haven't really seen a lot of those big runs from the New York Giants running game. You've had like 10, 15, possibly 20-yard runs from here and there for the past few games, but we're waiting for that big Saquon Barkley run up the middle. He had one of those last week against the Vikings, where he had that run up the middle, where he was able to get the Giants that big touchdown, and obviously they got the 2-point conversion afterwards. But the Giants have got to go out there and establish the dominance in the run game. And that starts with the offensive line. That starts with the 5 or possibly 6 guys, depending on who starts at the left guard position. Andrew Thomas, Ben Bredeson or Nick Gates, John Feliciano, Mark Lewinsky, Evan Neal. These guys have got to establish the offensive line in the front. Make it uncomfortable for that front 4 of the Colts to be able to hold up in that run game and start getting Saquon going. Even try to bounce him out to the outside. Have Barkley, get him on a toss play to the outside. Maybe try some type of run play, a draw to the outside. Don't just continue to run him up the middle. Try to get him towards the outside so he can pull off some of those big runs and be able to try to see if he can beat a cornerback or an outside linebacker or even a safety in the run game so he could truck those guys because of Saquon Barkley having the size to be able to run over some of those outside defensive backs and try to really pick off a big run going forward. But the run game is so vital to this team, and they have to get it going as early and often as possible in this football game and really start to establish their dominance overall in the beginning of this game. My second key to the game, contain the tight ends. I've watched some of these past couple of Colts games, and right now, you can argue the biggest threats in the Colts offense is the tight ends. Mo Alley-Cox, and especially the rookie, Jelani Woods. These guys are starting to get open in the middle of the field. You have Cox making some plays down the field. You got Jelani Woods making some plays in the middle of the football field. The Giants have got to try to take these two guys out of the football game, especially when you don't have Jonathan Taylor out there at running back, and you're playing with guys like Zach Moss and Lindsley. The Giants have got to take these tight ends out of the game. And then you take your chances with wide receivers like Paris Campbell, James Dolan, Michael Pittman Jr., and Alec Pierce. Take your chances with the wide receivers, but you got to take those tight ends out of this football game. Do not allow the tight ends to be able to make those plays over the middle against Landon Collins, Jalen Smith, Micah McFadden, against whoever is playing in the middle of that field. Because I know Nick Foles is going to be quarterbacking for the Colts. He's going to look for those tight ends in the middle of the football field. He's going to be targeting Woods and Cox in the middle of the field to try to pick up those big plays over the middle. The Giants have got to try to contain and slow down those two tight ends in the middle of the football field and not allow them to pick up those chunk yards over the middle. Since Woods has started to play a little bit more in that Colts offense, he's really starting to establish himself as a dominant tight end over the middle. And Cox is a player that could stretch the field as their flex tight end. The Giants have got to find a way to contain both Mo Alley Cox and Jelani Woods and not allow them to bust some plays over the middle and pick up those chunk yards against this New York Giants linebacking core and the safeties. I have confidence the safeties are going to be able to come down and make sure that those tight ends aren't going to be able to pick up those chunk plays. But I wonder about the linebackers and if they're going to try to get those tight ends in the soft zone in between the linebackers and the safeties and try to pick up those big plays over the middle. That's what I'm wondering, if the Colts are going to try to establish that type of their offense going and try to get those two tight ends involved early and often as possible in this passing game for Indianapolis. So my first key is running the football. Second key, contain the tight ends. My third key for the New York Giants going into this football game. And this is obviously a simple one, and this is going to be a big-time key for us to pull off this victory. We have got to make Nick Foles as uncomfortable as possible, and when you say that, it obviously means we're talking about the pass rush. And that starts with Kayvon Thibodeau, if he's healthy, Azeez Ojulari, Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Timon Fox, Jahid Ward, O'Shane Ximines, Henry Mondo, Vernon Butler. If you want to throw some of these safety blitzes like a Jason Pinnock or Landon Collins, maybe have a corner blitz with Darnay Holmes or Cordell Flott. Get a pass rush and make Nick Foles as uncomfortable as possible. This Colts offensive line, not named Quentin Nelson, is not very good. They're not very good. They don't protect the quarterback that well. Especially in the last game against the Chargers. Nick Foles got beaten up all over the place on that football field. This Colts offensive line is not good. The Giants need to go out there and they need to establish their dominance against this Colts lackluster offensive line, get a consistent pass rush against this offensive line, and go out there and really start to take control of this game. Like I mentioned earlier with the run game, you establish your dominance on the offensive line. It's the same exact thing with the defensive line and the outside linebackers. You establish your dominance with those players and get the pass rush and make Nick Foles as uncomfortable as possible sitting in that pocket, that when he knows that the rush is coming, he's going to be in for a long, long, long afternoon at MetLife Stadium. This is what the Giants have got to do. They've got to make Nick Foles have to, try to scramble out of the pocket, try to make some of these careless throws, and then this is where your defense could be opportunistic and be able to pick off some of those plays like a Julian Love, like a Jason Pinnock, if we get Xavier McKinney back, if we get a Dory Jackson back, maybe even your linebackers. You could also get a strip sack or strip fumble with one of your defensive linemen or outside linebackers. Kayvon Thibodeau did that against the Washington Commanders. Dexter Lawrence also did that. This is where you can really start taking advantage of that weak offensive line of the Colts and a quarterback that's clearly not a guy that likes to scramble, and he's more of a statue and he does not like to get hit. This is where the New York Giants really have got to establish their dominance on the defensive side of the football, and it starts with that front four, and namely, if you want to talk about the front seven when it comes to the pass rush. And you could even dial up some of those corner and safety blitzes on the outside to really confuse that Colts offense and Nick Foles. My fourth key to the game. So first key, run the football. Second key, contain the tight ends. Third key, pass rush. My fourth key to the game, special teams. And I'm going to keep hitting it home as much as possible. Special teams. The special teams has got to get us in a better position to start football games. Have to get us in good field position. There's too many times we are starting in minus territory when it comes to our field position. We have got to get in better field position overall in these games and not start out at the 10-yard line, the 15-yard line, even if we get pushed back towards our goal line. We have got to get into better field position in terms of these football games going forward, because that is how we are going to be able to start scoring more points on offense if we can get in good field position, especially when we have an offense with the Giants. And let's just be real, we're not good on offense. We know that. What's the best cure for a bad offense? Get them in good position when it comes to the offense. Get them in good position in field position. Time of possession plays in a part too. But I would like to see a punt or a kick return where we get put in position where we start at our own 30 or our own 40. Or, I can't believe I'm saying this, we start on the other team's side of the field. What a concept. I want to see this team getting good field position where we can really take advantage of short fields and especially tire out this Colts defense. That's what I want to see. Getting good field position when it comes to these games. No more sitting back at your own 10, 15, 5-yard line, whatever it is. And especially with the fact that we are best field position for the most part is when when the punts and kicks go into the back of the end zone. Enough of that. I want to actually start out at a good position for our offense. And it all starts out if you get good field position. That's my fourth key to the game. And my fifth key to the game, it's going to be something different, but it's simple as this. Don't beat yourselves. Don't beat yourselves. Too many times this year and in the past, the New York Giants have found ways to beat themselves in these games. Case in point, what happened last week against Minnesota. So it's different from my other four keys. It's different from running the football or containing the tight ends or special teams or pass rush. Don't beat yourself. Don't turn the football over in key situations when you're driving down to the opponent team's goal line. Don't turn the football over. Don't fumble it. Don't have a costly pick. Don't have a bad penalty that sets you back 10, 15 yards. Don't beat yourself in these games. Play smart, fundamentally sound football. That's how you're going to win these football games. Don't allow your own mistakes to cost you in these football games. Because I will argue, in some of these last few games we played, we have cost ourselves these wins. Go out there and play a sound, turnover-free, a limited amount of penalties as you can type of football game against the Indianapolis Colts. Plain and simple. So my keys to the game are simple. Run the football, establish your dominance on offense, running the football, with the offensive line really starting to establish their dominance. Get yourself a good pass rush on that defensive side. Make it as uncomfortable as possible for Nick Foles to operate in the pocket. Contain those two tight ends in the middle of the field, Mo Alley-Cox and Jelani Woods. Special teams have got to come to play here for the New York Giants, and that includes not allowing that very good Indianapolis Colts team to be able to get good field positions too. So kick and punt coverage have got to be essential. I'm not worried about Graham Gano, and for God's sakes, Jamie Gillen, stop with getting your punts blocked. Stop with these horrendous directional kicks. Get them down this team in around the 15-10 yard line, please. The New York Giants are in prime position right now, if they don't beat themselves, to get into the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Something we have not talked about in 6 years. We are one of the teams in the NFL that has the longest drought in terms of making the playoffs. This ends Sunday. It ends Sunday. You have one game left at MetLife Stadium. It's the first day of 2023. Happy New Year for that day. How about you give your fans a very, very happy New Year's Day present by sending this team to the playoffs for the first time in 7 years? I guarantee all Giants fans, including myself, are going to be damn happy with that result. Go out there and give this fan base one last time at MetLife Stadium for this season something to really cheer about, something to be proud about, because the Giants fans have been loud since we started this season. They've been damn loud. Brian Daboll, Wink Martindale, the players, all these guys are saying go out there and be loud. You know what? Those Giants fans are going to be damn loud when it goes into that stadium because we are starving. We are not hungry. We are starving for the playoffs. And I expect this football team to come out on Sunday and get the job done. I know this is going to be a pre-recorded video. It's going to come out on Sunday. But this team is starving to make the playoffs. And if we just, as long as we don't beat ourselves, we are going to be in the playoffs. Like our old former coach, rest in peace, Jim Fossil, said back all the way in 2000, this team is going to the playoffs. And we are going to go to the playoffs. Get the job done, New York. I think we win this game, and I think we make the playoffs for the first time in years. I think we win this game 24-13. That's my final score. 24-13, New York Football Giants. So those are my keys to a New York Giants victory. Just one more time real quick. Number 1, run the football. Easy, simple as concept as that. Number 2, contain the tight ends in the middle of the field. Number 3, establish your pass rush and make it uncomfortable for Nick Foles to operate in the pocket. Number 4, special teams have got to come into play, especially on the kick return and punt return side. Get us in good field position going to this football game. And number 3, don't beat yourselves. If we do all those 5 things, there's a very, very strong chance we are going to be playoff bound by the end. By around 4:15, 4:20 on Sunday afternoon, the New York Giants will be in the playoffs. So if you guys like this video, please hit the like button below. Sub up if you haven't already to NYGJeffyT85 for more breaking news, updates, chatter, and keys to victories surrounding the New York Giants. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short that will be dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And you guys let me know in the comment section if you agree or disagree with the keys to the victory in the video, as well as what are your keys to a New York Giants victory this Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. Happy New Year. And let's go New York Football Giants. Let's give this fan base, this team, this whole organization a very happy New Year's Day present by making the playoffs. Have a good one, everyone. And let's go New York Football Giants. As always, together blue, everyone.